Check. Check. Hi. Hello, everyone.
What was the voice I said I was going to start using from now on? I said I was going to start. Hold on. Let me do something. If you haven't been to one of these live streams before, allow me to explain the rules real quick. I'm not going to do a lot of jawing in this one, guys. This is about Judge Manning and Judge Manning's docket and the crazy stuff that goes on that docket. And tonight, it starts off crazy. Starts off kind of heavy. Not going to lie. Once this timer reaches 0, we're going right into the show. After the show, I'll stop by and say hi, and then we're going to all go on our merry way. Thank you for dropping by. I hope everybody's having a great Labor Day wherever you are. Welcome to the show. We'll be starting in 1 minute and 3 seconds. 2, 1. Oh my God, it's almost there. K-Bark, I see you. I see you, K-Bark. All your bases are mine. Oh, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for coming by for Judge Manning Manic Monday with Lone Wolf Usul. Get this thing started, shall we?
You don't need to tell your mother what I said. Get back on this screen. Turn your camera on now! Send them out of the room! Send those 2 girls out of that room! Now! Don't say a word, just send them out of the room. Oh, and go ahead and put yourself on mute now.
It's simply a tactic to interrupt. And so moving forward, I'm going to leave this in the discretion of the court, how the court sees the appropriateness of Ms. Beck's interruptions in my argument.
All right, go
Your
ahead.
Honor,
Go ahead. If I may, I did waive sounding for her protection. There's a lot that is in the warrants that are alleged that would potentially cause her harm while she is within the jail. Your Honor did accept me waiving sounding. That does actually include any of the details within the case. I don't necessarily have a statute on hand, but I would hope that the state would respect Ms. Hargett's safety. I thought we weren't interrupting each other. I would hope that you and the state would respect her right to safety while she is within the jail.
And Ms. Jackson, if there's something you want to say as, what's a good word, I guess, as vanilla as possible, so that she wouldn't be in trouble, I mean, wouldn't be in any sort of danger, that would be awesome.
Well, I'm going to try to be as awesome as I can and only argue the facts necessary, but I don't know what makes this case any more or less dangerous for Ms. Hargett than
I'm supposed to send me the link.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my normal argument, and I'm not sure how vanilla it is. A victim was shot while on the, and 2 other victims did report that the defendant ran them over with a vehicle prior to the shooting incident that was witnessed by the officers. At least some or all of this incident was captured on the neighbor's camera. For that reason, while the state does acknowledge that Ms. Hargett does not have a criminal history, we do believe Ms. Hargett to be a danger, extreme danger to the community, and even potentially a danger to these victims. Judge, this bond was denied at least 3 times prior to now, and so we would ask that you keep that in mind. While we do understand that Ms. Hargett is entitled to a bond after 90 days, it should be commensurate with the facts of the case and should be set in a way as to keep the community safe from any potential crimes from Ms. Hargett. For that reason, the state will request a bond of $100,000 on each case. I know Ms. Hargett's attorney, Ms. Beck, said that Ms. Hargett would be going into a program. If Ms. Beck wants to provide some further details about what type of program that is, what that would entail, and what it would be addressing for Ms. Hargett, then the state will be happy to review that and consent to a different bond at that time.
Ms. Beck, anything on the program you've been speaking of?
No, I'm going to respect Ms. Hargett's privacy and not do that over Zoom, but I will reach out to someone from the state about that. Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Jones, has there been contact? I'm sure Ms. Beck wants to know if there's been contact.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you, Your Honor.
yes, Your Honor, it has been contact, and the victim is opposing bond. She said that she's afraid for her safety and her life, and she's actually trying to jump on the Zoom now. She's trying to connect. It knocked her off, but she said that this time she would not want the defendant to have bond. She's really afraid.
Is this it says Hester?
Yes, ma'am, it is Miss Hester.
Miss Hester, would you like to speak, or you just want to listen?
She's trying to get on now. This is her sister. She's
No,
trying.
she's on. Miss Hester, if you take yourself off mute.
Okay, hello?
Yeah, would you like to speak, or you just want to listen?
I would like to speak.
Okay, if you do me a favor, if you raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And Ms. Hester, let me ask you one question before you speak. So I have from your last name listed as Lasada, I think, Losotta. Is it Hester or is it Lasada?
Lasetta is my middle name. Hester is my
Oh,
last
okay.
name.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to say?
I would just like to say that I think she shouldn't get a bond right now because I still fear for my life, far as because how she came over to my home with me and my kids in here. And I still live in the same home right now that she came and did that at. So, I have a 4-year-old in here. I have kids in here, period, grandkids. And for her to just come and do something like that, I don't feel safe. And I wouldn't feel safe if I think she gets out.
Ms. Beck, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
None at this time, Judge.
So Ms. Hester, I'd like for you to know that she's been in jail over 90 days without indictment. So legally she's entitled to bond, just so you'll know. Okay, so I do have to actually give her a bond today, okay?
You say what now, ma'am?
She's been in jail over 90 days and she hasn't been indicted. So she's legally, I'm bound to give her a bond, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So Ms. Beck, is she going to live in Fulton County?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So we got no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 17 Brown Avenue Southeast. If available, you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county. If the ankle monitor is not available, you're still going to have that 24-hour curfew. You could leave for court, lawyer, medical appointments, and employment. Supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you're going to be working. No further contact with Markevion, Markevion Alexander, Janae Cummings, JANAECUMMINGS, John Cox, and Miss Tarika Hester, HESTER. It's TERR, I'm gonna spell your name, ICKA. So no further contact with her. Like I said, that ankle monitor will be paid for by the county if those funds were available. If it's not, ma'am, you'll still have that 24-hour curfew, okay? Let's see. Let me get it. So, Mr. Dukes, I'll go by what's the way it's on the bond order with count 3, 5, 7, 8,
Can I
18.
speak again? Because I understand you said she been in there 90 days. There's not enough time for somebody to come to my home and shoot up my house with me in it and threaten me and my kids for over 70-some shots in my home and came and shot my room.
Your Honor, I'm going to
door down
object
while
at this
I was
point. I did say I didn't, I did waive sounding.
Right. So Ms. Hester, so I understand you're against bond. However, legally, by law, she's entitled to a bond. Now, if she can make it or whatever, that's between her and whomever, but legally, she has to have a bond. If not, then she'd have to be, just released. So she's legally entitled to a bond after she's been in 90 days without indictment, and she's been in 120 days, okay? So we got, yeah, all right, so we'll just go straight by since it's all no bond, we'll just go straight by what's on the calendar. So I got 50,000, 100,000, 25,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, and 100,000. That's 50,000, 100,000, 25,000, 50,000, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Thank you, ma'am. Best of luck to you. Thank you, Miss Hester.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, Mack. Yeah, I thought you had 2 cases, Miss Beck. Maybe not.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, you just had 1. Okay. Thank you, Miss Beck. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
All right. So I've got, all right, position 2, Tyrannisha Posie. All right, Miss Posie, it's position 2, Bostic, 24 PI 003732, $35,000 good bond as of June the 14th on ag assault, ag battery, owner of a dangerous dog or permit dog be off property, and aggravated battery. Right.
15 cycles open felony obstruction, 24 SC 002810, 2019 battery, FTA in 2013, battery and cruelty in the 3rd in 2013, another old battery history of probation violations, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you, Judge. Miss Posie has been accepted into Women on the Rise. I got the acceptance letter from Robin Hassan Simpson, the executive director. Miss Posie was accepted to Women on the Rise on July 19th. They're currently working on getting her an inpatient placement for mental health treatment at Mary Freedom Hall. So they're currently working on that. If Miss Posie does not, comply with the inpatient procedures, which I'm perfectly confident she will, every conversation that I've had with her. But if she does not, then of course she's out of the Women in the Rise program. So she has great incentive to comply with all of this. Miss Posie has lived in the city of Atlanta since she was 10. She has 5 kids, all that live local. Her mom lives local. She has 1 grandchild who lives locally. At the time of her arrest, she was working at a Checkers fast food restaurant. So she was gainfully employed, Judge. I believe through the pretrial history, we did only hear 1 FTA. One of the primary purposes of bond is to ensure one's presence at court. And Ms. Posie overall does have a good record of coming to court. Judge, because she's been accepted into this program, I'm going to ask for a large reduction. I think I'm going to have to get bail assistance for Ms. Posie. And they, of course, will not post any bond until she's been she has some sort of fixed address. We're hoping Mary Freedom Hall, or Mary Hall Freedom House is what it's called, or something like it. At that point, I'm going to have to provide 2 references, probably one from there and one from Women on the Rise, to verify that that's where she's going to be living before before the Bail Project will consider posting any bond for her. So I am going to ask for a bond reduction all the way down to a aggregate of $4,500. If Your Honor does not feel that is appropriate, even with the acceptance into these programs, at that point, I would ask for a bond of $10,000. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
The state would oppose a reduction of the bond to $4,500. The facts of this case state that Ms. Posie did stab the victim in the chest after some type of altercation over Ms. Posie's dog being off the leash in a gas station. Ms. Posie does have a significant history. She's got a pretty violent history as well: 2010 battery, 2013 battery, cruelty to children, simple assault, 2019 battery. She also has some open pending cases, an aggravated assault, and an obstruction at a felony level. Judge, the state would be opposed to reducing bond to $4,500 or $10,000 based on the fact that Ms. Posie is a danger to the community, and based off of her history, she's likely to reoffend. There were some FTAs and some VLPs in her history, which we would show signifies that Ms. Posie is not likely to abide by the conditions of the court or come to court when called. For that reason, the state will request that the aggravated assault remain at $10,000, count 2 aggravated assault remain at $10,000, count 3 owner of a dangerous dog is at $5,000. The state would consent to reducing it to $3,000. Or request that the aggravated battery remain at $10,000.
And Judge, in brief response, if I may.
Go ahead.
Ms. Posie has lots of cycles. Clearly, the criminal justice system has not worked in reducing her, picking up these cases. This program is a chance to break this cycle. It's a chance to actually get Ms. Posie some help. So I would posit that by not significantly reducing her bond, by blocking her entrance into this program, that would be leaning more towards future recidivism from Ms. Posie than allowing her into the program. Thank you.
Ms. Jones, has there been contact with the victim?
Your Honor, the number that was provided through the investigator, I did leave a message at that number, but I didn't get a response back. And a text message was sent as well.
Okay. Mr. Dobbs, is your client going to live in Fulton? Oh, you don't know because you need, okay. All right.
Judge, I can look and see if that inpatient Mary Hall Freedom House, I can look real quick and see where that is located.
I think that is in Fulton. Let's see.
I'm looking up now.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't seen my lawyer, but there's a program in Cobb County that I've already been signed up for. It's in Cobb that I've been signed up for. And I did my health insurance yesterday.
Okay, Ms. Posie, can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what that program's called?
It's with Mary Freedom Hall.
Okay,
I don't know the name of the program.
So that's still through Women on the Rise?
Yes, I'm not Mary Freedom Hall, but with Women on the Rise.
It's not the program we thought you were going to, and you're confident that's in Cobb? You're very confident?
Yes, I'm very confident. It's in Cobb. I've already spoke to him and everything. Yes, sir.
Okay, Judge.
I was supposed to got my acceptance letter yesterday, but I didn't get it. So it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Remind me, I'm sorry, was there open cases when this crime was allegedly committed?
Asking me, Ms. Bostic.
What did you say, Judge?
Was there open cases, Bostic, when this one was
just a felony obstruction?
Okay.
Is all that's open, Judge.
Has Mr. Hicks been a previous victim?
It's a battery in 2019. Let me see, Miss Posie. And the obstruction is from 2022, Judge.
Okay. All right. So No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Must join the Women on the Rise program and participate in any treatment classes or anything they have you join. No further contact with Claude Hicks, CLAUDEHICKS. Stay away from 3601 Martin Luther King Drive, Northwest. If there is an ankle monitor, which I doubt there will be, but you can have it supplied by the county, but you will have a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and participation in that program. Great. 10,000, 8,000, 3,000, and 8,000. Best of luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. May I please be excused?
Yes, sir. I got Wakila Tucker.
Your Honor,
Judge,
I
they're
believe
gonna be a loan out, that's a loan out to Grady, Judge.
Okay, so do we know how long?
No. Was that today?
Your Honor, we would just request the earliest reset date possible.
So can we add it to like next Thursday, Mr. Dukes?
Yes, Judge, I can add on.
Okay, and I mean, I don't know if Miss Murray, if you're able to get by and speak with her or whatever, but if she's not, maybe you can wave. I don't know. Is that good next Thursday?
Yeah, I'll try to get in contact with her just in case there's another issue at that time.
Okay, thank you so much. So who else do you got there?
I have number 4, Miss Wellington.
Oh, her case was indicted. Miss Wellington, your case was indicted. Mr. Showalter was on earlier, so if you give him a call tomorrow, he can explain what counts were indicted, what counts were not indicted, okay?
So I still have my bond, right?
Well, I'm not sure exactly everything that was indicted. You still have, you have a $75,000 bond on, was it 3 counts? But I don't know if everything that was indicted. So if they indicted something else, they added a charge or something like that, then that could be in no bond status. But right now, on the 3 counts that were actually on the counter, there's still that $75,000 bond. But like I said, I don't know if they indicted on additional counts.
Okay.
All right, but Mr. Showalter can answer that for you. Best of luck to you. All right, I got Rodriguez Mack. Wave your hand when I call your name. Thank you, ACDC.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Mack, wave your hand. No, Mr. Mack yet. What about Eric Allison?
Your Honor, and Mr. Mack, he is in a wheelchair, and if they weren't able to bring him, I do have express permission to have the hearing in his absence.
Okay, we'll go ahead with Mr. Mack real quick. Position 9, 24 PI 002 456. We've got a $390,000 good bond as of July 9th, 144 days without indictment. Home invasion, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession, receipt, transport of a firearm by a convicted felon, felony first offender, theft by receiving, ag assault, ag assault, ag assault. Pre-trial.
27 cycles, open case 23 SC 190577, 24 SC 003584, battery family violence, son Judge Wall, 2020 battery family violence, other felonies more than 10 years old. FTAs to more than 10 years old, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Guest.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mack is 41 years old, and he has been in the Atlanta area his entire life. He's not present today, but as I stated, he is currently wheelchair bound. Following this incident, he was shot and has been recovering in the Fulton County Jail. When I visited with him, he just recently had another surgery. So the likelihood of him causing any danger to the victim or returning back to the incident location is going to be extremely difficult given the fact that he's unable to really be mobile at this time. When Mr. Mack is released, he does have plans on obtaining his Social Security income in order to get some type of livelihood, some type of money, because he was working in local restaurants prior to the incident, but he does not believe that he's going to be able to return back to any form of normalcy, given the fact that he has a long road of recovery ahead of him. At the time of the incident, he was living at the incident location, but he does plan to reside with his mother in Decatur, Georgia. Mr. Mack has no issues with staying away from the alleged victims in this case or the alleged incident location, Your Honor. So we would ask that you also take that into consideration as it pertains to the likelihood to intimidate or the witnesses. We're just asking that Mr. Mack get the opportunity to have some type of reduction in his bond. The current bond that he has is not something that Mr. Mack is going to be able to make. We're asking that the court considers a reduction on all the charges. We're asking for a $20,000 bond on the home invasion, a $10,000 bond on the possession of a firearm or knife during the commission. We're also asking for a $10,000 bond on the possession of firearm by a convicted felon. We're asking for a $50,000 bond on each of the counts of aggravated assault. And I would ask whether or not the state has had contact with the alleged victims in this case.
Ms. Jones?
No, it was an attempt, but nobody responded.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
Judge, the state would oppose any type of downward deviation on the bond in this case. I do recall handling this case at least a month or so ago. And the facts of this case are quite egregious. As Ms. Guest stated, Mr. Mack is in a wheelchair based off the incident of this case. It looks like he went to the victim's home, busted in through the door, and began firing inside of the home. The victim's current boyfriend was there and was also shot in an attempt trying to protect the home, the girlfriend, and the child who was sleeping upstairs. When the officers did a sweep of the home, bullets were found ricocheted all over the home, including in the child's bedroom, which had penetrated his door and ricocheted off of his ceiling while he was in the room sleeping that night. For that reason, we believe that Mr. Mack is in extreme danger to the victim. I know his attorney stated that because he's in a wheelchair, he won't be able to go back to the house. But quite frankly, Judge, I don't think there's anything that's going to keep Mr. Mack away from that home. He came to it in the middle of the night while the home was sleeping, kicked in the door, and shot up the house. I don't think anything, including a wheelchair, will be able to prevent him returning to the home. Based off of his history, we do believe that Mr. Mack is extremely likely to reoffend. And based off the facts of this case, we believe that Mr. Mack is a danger to the community. The state would oppose any downward deviation in bond and would ask it to be the same.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 379 Atwood Street. No further contact with Lashandra Brown, Lashundra, then Roberto Henderson and Javion Callahan, Javion Callahan. I have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, and medical. The only reason he can leave his house and he stay out of Fulton County unless he's here for court or to see his lawyer. So absolutely no reason to come back into Fulton County. I'm sure you'll file that change of address. So I'll give 50, 15, 15, 100, 100, and 100. And I will put this on my email tonight too and copy you, Ms. Guest.
Yes, Your Honor, that concludes my matters with the court. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did we have Eric Allison? Yes, wave your hand, Mr. Allison. Thank you for being patient, sir. Position 5, 24 PI 003. 846, 90 days without indictment. There is a $12,000 consent bond as of June the 24th on ag assault, and simple battery. Pre-trial.
11 cycles, FTA in 2010. Felonies more than 10 years old, controlled substance and obstruction. Serious vehicle charge and hit and run at 07.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Murray.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Allison is 51 years old. He has resided in Georgia his entire life. He, prior to his incarceration, was employed with J&M Contractors doing construction and demolition work. He'd been doing that since 2013, and he does believe that he can go back to that employment if released. He's a high school graduate. Your Honor, we would like to point out that he is charged with one count of aggravated assault and one count of aggravated assault not causing serious bodily injury. However, there's only one alleged victim here. We're not really sure why he was charged twice with aggravated assault. However, unfortunately, Mr. Allison was overlooked and was not transported to court for his preliminary hearing, and him and I had already discussed a waiver in exchange for a consent bond. So we went ahead and did that rather than him being rescheduled and, you know, for weeks down the line and being without a bond. So unfortunately, he is unable to afford the bond that is in place now. He does have a good address that he can return to. That address is in Fulton County. So we're just going to ask for a reduction to an amount that he might be able to afford. I believe that the bond is $1,000 on one of the counts of aggravated assault, given the duplicative nature. So we'd ask that that stay in place. But on the other count of aggravated assault, we'd ask for that to be reduced to $4,500. And on the simple battery, we'd ask for that to be reduced to $500.
Ms. Jones, any victim contact?
Your Honor, was that number 6 or 7? 5.
5.
There was an attempt, but no contact.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
Judge, the warrants in this case don't give very much information as to what actually occurred. And I do see what Ms. Murray is saying about there being one victim and 3 different counts, which essentially are all alleging similar acts from Mr. Allison. For that reason, the state would oppose aggravated assault being reduced to $4,000. The state would agree to reducing it to $8,000, keeping the aggravated assault on the second count at $1,000, and would have no objection to reducing the simple battery to $500 as requested. Based off the criminal history, it does appear that Mr. Allison has an extensive criminal history that dates back to when he was just 17 years old. And for that reason, Judge, we do believe that Mr. Allison remains a danger to this community and likely to reoffend. So we would oppose the bond going down to $4,000 and will request that the court follow the state's recommendation.
All right.
And Your Honor, if I may, real quick, I forgot to mention, Mr. Allison's last cycle prior to this was about 20 years ago. So we would ask that the court take that into consideration in terms of, you know, his likelihood to reoffend, which we don't believe he is.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 911 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. No further contact with Derek Morgan. If there's an ankle monitor available, it'll be paid for by the county. If not, you still have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. I think I said no further contact with Derek, D-E-R-R-I-C-K. Wait, is it Morgan? This is Mogan, M-O-G-A-N.
As far as I know, Your Honor, it's M-O-G-A-N, but.
Okay, then I said Morgan, M-O-G-A-N. So 6,000, 1,000, and 500. 6,000, 1,500. Best of luck to you, sir. James Banks. You can leave that booth, sir. All right, Mr. Banks, position 6, Bostic 24 PI 003-848, 90 days without indictment. Got a $30,000 good bond as of June 24th on armed robbery, ag assault, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony. Wow.
4 cycles, possible open case for simple battery, family violence out of Union City from January of this year, and possible open case for purchase, possession, manufacturing, sale from January of this year out of Douglas. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Murray.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Banks is 18 years old. He does have a good address residing in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's lived in Atlanta for the last 5 years. He was working at Jersey Mike's prior to his incarceration and believes that he will be able to return there upon his release. He's a high school graduate. He also has a child, a 1-year-old. We are asking for a reduction in this case, given the fact that Mr. Banks has no felony convictions on his record. We are going to ask that on the armed robbery that be reduced to $10,000, on the aggravated assault that be reduced to $7,000, and that the possession of a firearm or knife during commission be reduced to $5,000.
All right, has there been any contact with the victim, Ms. Jones?
Your Honor, they are opposing bond.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
Real quick, I think is position 3 already set to 5,000?
So those that were moved because they were indicted is actually, I'm sorry, position 4 was indicted, position 1 was sent to state court, and position 3 was indicted.
Oh. I'm sorry, position 3 was indicted.
That's okay.
I think she meant count 3, Your Honor, not
Oh,
position B
count
on the
3, I'm
policy.
sorry.
Yes,
Those are-
count 3 on here. Is that set at 5,000?
Yes, ma'am. 15, 10, and 5. I apologize. I'm not listening
Oh,
well.
excuse me, then we'd ask that stay at the 5,000.
Judge, based off the facts of the case alleged in the warrant, it looks like Mr. Banks, held a woman or Mr. Smith at gunpoint and demanded that he give over his iPhone. I did hear Madam Pretrial's rendition of history. I'm not sure if she included the open, simple battery that's in the solicitor's office here in Fulton County right now. For the reasons stated and based off Mr. Banks' age, we do believe that Mr. Banks is a danger to the community. And based off the violent charges in his history, we believe that he's likely to reoffend. The state would consent to reducing the armed robbery to 13,000, the aggravated assault to 8,000, and keeping the possession of a firearm at 5,000.
All right. Let's see. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 990 Piedmont Avenue Northeast. No further contact with Brandon Smith, Brandon, obviously common spelling of Smith. 1 second here, with this in closing. You will have a 24-hour curfew, and there's an ankle monitor paid for by the county if it's available. If not, you still have that 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. 13,000, 8,000, and 5,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'm sorry. That concludes my business for today. May I be excused?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too. All right. Last but not least, Ms. Kennebrew. All right, we got Mr. How do you say his first name? Karnavosky Franklin. Thank you. Position 10, 24 PI 002 705. 133 days without indictment. There is a $70,000 good bond for kidnapping and battery. So we got 50 and then 20. Wow.
Hold for probation violation 8/6/24, 16 cycles in Minnesota, 6 in Georgia. There's a chair in 2015, an ag robbery in 2015, both out of Minnesota and Georgia. There's 22 SC 180667, ag assault with a deadly weapon 3 counts, terror 3 counts, firearm during 2 counts, firearm by Carnicel, and then there's 24 PI 002705, kidnapping, trafficking. Oops, not saying that one. Battery.
And
Wave
that
sounding on the
second charge was dismissed.
Huh?
The second charge was dismissed at his preliminary hearing.
Okay.
Oh, you want the probation violation case number?
Please.
It's 24001766 PV.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Jones, have been any victim contact?
Yes, Your Honor, they opposed bond.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Kennebrew.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Franklin is 51 years of age. He has a valid address in the metro Atlanta area. He has been a resident of Georgia for over 12 years. He is married, and he's been married beyond 12 years. He also is the father of 4 children, one of whom is under the age of 18. Prior to being arrested, he was working at Bubbling Blessing LLC, which is a mobile detailing business, and he's been working there for over 6 years. He will have his job once he is able to afford a bond that releases him from custody. He did complete his GED. He also completed an associate's degree in business administration from Minneapolis Technical College. He was arrested on April 17th. He had a preliminary hearing set on May 10th that had to be reset to June 3rd. On June 3rd, one of his charges were dismissed. We were just requesting that the bond be reduced to 30,000 total, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
Your Honor, it's going to be ADA Miller on behalf of the state for this case.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state, this defendant does have a bond on the case. I know he has been in custody for 133 days without indictment, and he is entitled to a bond, and he has a bond. So the state would ask that the bond remain the same for the following reasons. Given that this defendant has 16 cycles out of Minnesota, 6 in Georgia, it does appear that he poses a significant risk of reoffending. Also, according to his GCIC, he does have a failure to appear out of Judge Carnicel's courtroom as well as a probation violation hold as well before Judge Ingram. So, Your Honor, it states position that he poses significant risk of reoffending and a danger to the community. And for those reasons, Your Honor, the state would ask that the bond remain the same on the charges for this defendant for kidnapping $50,000 and for the battery $20,000.
All right. No drugs unless he's not going to live in Fulton County though, right, Ms. Kennebrew?
His address is in Fulton County, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 3 Joseph E. Lowry, Boulevard. Stay away from all Texaco gas stations. No further contact with your co-defendant, Jeffrey Hardy, Hardy. I think I already said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. No further contact with Jessica Brooks. You will have a 24-hour curfew. If the funds are available, there'll be an ankle monitor paid for by the county. If they're not, you still have that 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, and medical. The only reason you can leave your house, sir, court, lawyer, and medical. Let's see, he's been in, what does it look like on indictment? Mr. Miller, do you know?
Your Honor, I suspect that this matter will be indicted within the next couple of weeks. I would say within a month, I would say 2 weeks to for wishful thinking, a month to be on the safe side.
All right.
Given the charges and the allegations in the warrants.
I got you. So, Mr. Franklin, it looks like you already got that probation hold, so you won't get out anyway. But I'll do 47,000 and 18,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Kennebrew.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a great one.
You too. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes my business, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
3 days later.
4 PI 003337, 100 days without indictment. Looks like there was a $3,000 consent bond on July the 11th on criminal damage of property in the 2nd degree.
9 cycles up to open criminal trespass cases from 24 CR, 2016 interference with government property, simple battery in 2014. Last arrest was 2023, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Showalter.
Yes, Christopher Amos, he is 35 years old. His address is 3215 Mackenzie, East Point, Georgia, 30344. He, I guess he's done different types of jobs. One of the jobs that he told me that he had is editing Wikipedia. So there's that. He was working at a textile mill. So I would ask the court to grant a $1,000 bond.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Malkin.
State will request a $3,000 bond.
So it's already 3.
I thought it was 5. Oh, it's on 2 different cases.
Oh,
So
yeah, this one.
okay. Well, then 2,000
All right.
for this one.
All right, it'd be a $2,000 good bond. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 3217 McKenzie Road in East Point. So that's probably across the street from you. Or next door. Stay away from Miller Manor Apartments. Do you live in that apartment complex, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you can't go to that Miller Manor apartment complex, and no further contact with Jazzmon, Jazzmon, last name Cammon, Cammon. It'll be a $2,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. That's like we don't have anybody else here yet. I don't even see, is Cobb logged on? Cobb isn't even logged on yet.
Yeah, Cobb
Yeah,
just
Judge
made
Cobb.
it. Judge Cobb just made it over. The deputy just made it over. They should be on shortly.
Okay. Bogle must be dragging today. He usually has these folks in the booth. Mr. Showalter, if that's it, you can go and have a very
I am logging off now.
have a good holiday weekend. Enjoy your time.
Thank you.
We'll be glad to take care of the rest of people when we can get them in the booth. Miss Murray? I mean, Miss Guest? Miss Guest. Hey, Miss Guest. So it looks like, yeah, if you look on Odyssey and outstanding warrants, I don't know, but there's 2 for abandonment of dependent child on Mr. Ashford. There's 3 actually. There's 2 counts under warrant number 811093 and 1 count under 811093. I don't know. So there's some child abandonment warrants. It says foreign warrant, so
Are those?
so it's like if you didn't pay. See, I don't know because I can't really see it. All I can see is what's on, when it says when it's got the little red W.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe those may be his holds out of other counties. I don't think that is in Fulton, but I can let him know and see if we can touch bases or try to get that cleared up. But we were aware that he had holds out of Cobb and Henry. So that may be related to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, that may be there. Let's see. So are you Brandon Phillips? Wave your hand if you're Brandon Phillips because you're on mute. All right. Let's see. All right. Ms. Murray, this is position 5, Bostic 24 PI 003607. It was a transfer from state court and it's theft by shoplifting. Since it was increased to I don't even know if there was a bond set then or was it just increased to the felony, theft by shoplifting. Pre-trial, been in 119 days.
Georgia, 25 cycles, FDA and 21, battery, family violence, 2017, history of probation violation, history of driving with a suspended license, 24 SC 003543, theft by shoplifting, 360, theft by shoplifting, 3894, burglary, entering auto theft by taking, 4014, theft by shoplifting. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Murray.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Phillips is 28 years old. He has resided in Georgia his entire life. He has family here. His grandmother, mother, and has a good address in Atlanta with his grandmother. He did receive a GED as well. Your Honor, the basis of these allegations, as you noted, it was transferred from state court. The current bond is $5,000. The case was transferred over from state court due to the history of shoplifting. However, the items that were allegedly shoplifted here was quite literally, I believe, a candy bar, and I think maybe a bag of chips or something like that. We do understand that Mr. Phillips does have several open cases for various types of theft. A lot of these cases were indicted quite recently, and a couple of the indicted cases are holding him in. However, we are asking for a signature bond in this case. We're working on getting Mr. Phillips into accountability court, and we're trying to facilitate that process. Like I said, these other indicted cases are holding him in, but he's been in 119 days over a candy bar and a bag of chips. At some point, we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it to, be holding someone in jail over items as minor as this? And like I said, I do understand that he has a history of this and that something needs to be done about it. Hence why we are trying to send him through accountability court. We're trying to see if we can take care of, all of these open cases at once, so that we can really give him a shot to work on his substance abuse issues and so that he can, get back out there and thrive. But I've spent a lot of time with Mr. Phillips. We've had a lot of conversations. He's very serious about accountability court. He's going through a lot right now as well. His mother is pretty ill. He's been unable to see her. He wants to be able to spend some time with her prior to, any sort of things that may come of that illness. So, Your Honor, we're really just hoping to get the signature bond here. We'll continue working on accountability court in these indicted cases, but for the meantime, it just seems unfair to continue holding Mr. Phillips on charges as minor as these.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Malcolm.
Thank you. He is being held on 3 separate cases, it looks like, in Odyssey, and they all have bonds, $5,000 bond on each of them. And based on his history and what we've heard from pretrial, the state believes that the bond amount is not unreasonable and it ought to be left the way it is. Thank you.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from the Chevron gas station at 2656 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. Yeah, that's why it was bumped up to a felony because of the other cases. So what I'll do is I'll reduce it to a $3,000 good bond, and I will put his name on my list with that note, Miss Murray, that it was a misdemeanor shoplifting due to the number of offenses.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I did want to, I don't know if this is a question for you or maybe for active records, but for some reason, on the jailing screen, it still shows the misdemeanor case number, with the $5,000 bond. And so I'm worried that once this bond order gets entered, that maybe that won't be removed. I don't know if there's anything that you can do about that, or if I should just reach out to the records people.
Is the state court case number still showing open? Is it blue or is it black?
So I think well, you know how it says like the active charges and then the case, all of them are black. So I'm not sure if that.
I mean, so when you pull it up, it shows his like cases, and that the ones are blue are open and the ones that are blacked out are.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean that on the jailing screen
okay.
specifically, it's showing the $5,000 bond, but it's showing the state court case number. So my concern is if you enter a bond order on this case, that's going to stay. And then additionally, the 5,000. So I'm not sure if that's something that you can even do anything about, or if I have to.
Let's see. LT, what can they do about that? Any ideas?
No, ma'am. I could try to find out.
Do you want to give LT that case number? The state court?
I will put that in the chat.
She'll put it in the chat, LT.
Okay.
To call records, and maybe we can put something on the bond order that this bond applies to former state court case number, then I'll get maybe that'll help. But if there's anything I can do, whatever LT finds out, if there's something that I can do to help, please let me know. Let's see. Did you send everybody or just
that was my only case, so may I be excused?
Yeah, did you send the case number to everybody or just to the lieutenant?
Oh, just to the lieutenant, sorry. Do you need it as well, Your Honor?
Yeah, that way we'll make sure we note it on the Superior Court case.
Gotcha. I'll just send it to everyone so your litigation manager can see it too.
Okay.
There it is.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we'll put on there that, this case was transferred. The bond in the state court case no longer applies. This is the bond since it was transferred and upgraded to a bill. Hopefully that'll iron it out and get it a little better.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Have a good holiday weekend. Sir, you can lead the way. Let's see, we got somebody from Forest South. So I'm supposed to have 3 people. So are you Tyree McDaniel? When I call your name, you gotta wave your hand. Tyree McDaniel? Xavier Reneer? All right, you gotta be Jeremy Taylor. Ding, now we're cooking with gas. All right, let's see. All right, this is position 4, Bostic 24 PI 003835, 93 days without indictment. As of June the 1st, there is a $40,000 good bond. Armed robbery, robbery by intimidation, and misdemeanor obstruction, 93 days without indictment. Pre-trial.
Which, Jeremy Taylor?
Jeremy Taylor?
Yeah, Alabama 3 cycles, FTA in 2014, Georgia 19 cycles, battery family violence 2019 with a simple battery family violence 2015 theft by taking history of probation violation prior freight FTA in 2017, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Taylor is 33 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Atlanta. He has a good address in Hampton, Georgia that belongs to his mother. He was, prior to his incarceration, employed at a restaurant called Mr. Everything, additionally working in renovation and construction of apartment homes and other construction type jobs. He's also applying for work, had put in applications to Walmart and other sort of retail service places just prior to his arrest, trying to find more work, Your Honor. At this time, Your Honor, as well, he's a high school graduate. At this time, we are asking for the bond to be reduced in half from 40 down to $20,000. Mr. Taylor has requested that we find him help with getting into some kind of rehab program. We believe that this incident also stems from an addiction problem that Mr. Taylor has acknowledged that he may have. And so we're still working to find him placement into a program, but that is the plan going forward while we work on slowly reducing his bond until we can find placement for him into a program. And so once again, we're asking for the bond to be reduced to $20,000.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Malkin.
State would not consent to such a drastic reduction while his counsel is still looking for a program. Once they find a program, maybe something can be worked out. But in the meantime, he was given a $40,000 bond on June 1st. Reduction was denied on June 21st. And so there's really no reason to reduce it. The state would ask that it not be lowered below $35,000.
All right. All right, so I got no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from Tech Shop and Run, 800 Marietta Street Northwest. Also, no further contact with AZIZ, last name DOSHI, and Navi Singh, NAVISINGH, and Michael SIMLAN. Stay out of Fulton County. The only reason you come back to Fulton County is to court and to see your lawyer, sir. So you stay down there in Henry County or Clayton County. You can't come to Fulton County. And down there, you'll have a 24-hour curfew with your mom. So make sure you have a current address and keep it current. You leave your house for court, lawyer, medical appointments, and seek employment. But you have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. 20,000, 7,000, 7,000. Best of luck to you, sir. I will include that in my email. You have a good holiday weekend.
All right. Thank you, Judge. You as well.
All right. Let's see. Do I have Tyree McDaniel? Wave your hand if you're Tyree McDaniel. All right. Here we go. Position 2, Miss Offerossi for Miss Beck, 24 PI 003794. Let's see, 94 days without indictment. There's a $2,000 good bond as of June 21st on Rinaldo with intent to commit a theft or a felony. Wow.
4 cycles out of Michigan, no prior felony arrest, no prior conviction. Last arrest was 2014. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Miss Offerossi.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. McDaniel, like you said, he's been incarcerated now, 94 days without indictment. His last bond was set in June. At his preliminary hearing. He's 34 years old. We do have a good address for him on file. He's been in Georgia the last 20 years. His last job was at Popeyes and likely would have to get another fast food type job. He is a high school graduate. He does have some training as a medical assistant and he has a child on the way. We are also trying to get him into a program. We're just asking for a reduction right now to $500 total.
Is he going to live in Fulton County?
I believe so, Judge, yes. Let me double check.
Fulton County, sir, thumbs up or thumbs down?
College Park, so yes.
Half that's in Clayton. Sir, do you live in Fulton County? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. So he lives in Clayton County. Go ahead, Mr. Malkin.
They request a $1,000 bond, please.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed. No alcohol. No weapons. No replicas of weapons. No further contact with Timothy Watts, WATTS. Stay away from 1170 Cleveland Avenue in East Point. Stay out of Fulton County. The only reason you come back to Fulton County is court or to see your lawyer. So don't get a job at a fast food place in Fulton County. Stick down there to Clayton County, Henry County, or something below the Fulton County line. All right. So $1,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thanks, Judge.
All right.
Mr. McDaniel, Miss Attorney Beck will come out and see you, okay? And answer any more questions you got.
All right. You can leave the booth, sir. So we got Xavier Reneer, number 3. Wave your hand, Mr. Reneer. There we go. Thank you. 24 PI 003799, 94 days without indictment. There was a $11,500 good bond for aggravated assault and criminal trespass, been in 94 days without indictment. And then 11,500 was 624. Pre-trial. You're on mute, Bostic.
All right, let's try again. 1 in Florida, 1 in South Carolina, 3 in Delaware, 7 in Georgia, Delaware. History of traffic offense, FTA in 2018, open case 23 SC 1911544 holds for FTA for 2822 and Marietta, FTA 111623. Don't appear to have any convictions here, and 3 FTAs 24, 23, and 22. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Rhodes, has there been any contact with the victim?
No, Your Honor, victim locate was sent out.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Alfarasi.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Reneer is 32 years old. He's been in custody now 94 days without an indictment. His preliminary hearing was also back in June, which is when this bond was set. We have a good address for him on file. He does have a bachelor's degree in accounting, which he received from Georgia State. He's been in Georgia the last 10 years. He does have some people here. Judge, we are asking for a reduction to $6,000 total.
All right, so is he gonna leave, is he gonna live in Fulton?
Let me double check the address.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, sir? You gonna live
It's
in
an
Fulton?
Atlanta address, Judge. Yes.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Malkin.
All right, the state is asking that the bond remain the same. It was set at 12.5 on 5/29 and then lowered to 11.5 on 6/21 or 6/24. He's accused of threatening the victim in this case with a knife and slashing the tires of another victim. And so the state believes that he does pose a danger to the community, risk of reoffending, and danger to the witnesses in the case. Thank you.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 1067 Memorial Drive Southeast in Atlanta, Georgia. Looks like you used to live there, so you can return once with law enforcement to retrieve your belongings. You have to have law enforcement, sir, to retrieve your belongings. Also, stay away from 443 Ponce de Leon Avenue Northeast. The entire complex, not just apartment 303. No further contact with Andra Johnson and Dejuan, Dejuan Anderson. No further contact with any of those. And you'll have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. No further contact with John Royalston. So I'm going to do 10,000 and 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Safrazi. Have a good holiday weekend.
Thank you, Judge. You too. Mr. Reneer, Attorney Beck will come out and talk to you, okay?
You can leave the booth, sir. Thank you. All right, so with the last one, Ms. Guest, Jesse Ashford, position 9, 24 PI 003908, 90 days without indictment. There is a $42,500 good bond as of July the 9th. Entering auto with intent to commit a theft or felony, theft by taking, misdemeanor obstruction, and theft by taking. Wow.
23, open case 23 SC 1900574, cruelty first, theft by taking, battery, and violence, 2 counts. Ingram, open 24 PI 003910, firearm by 22 cycles, theft by receiving, stolen property, financial transaction card, 6 counts, 2016 FTA and 2018, 2 holes, Marietta 5813, family offense, McDaniel obstruction 53023. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Guest.
Yes, Your Honor. Before you is Mr. Ashford. He is 27 years old, and he does have a valid address where he would reside. That address is in Fulton County. So we would ask that any restrictions that would allow him, that would require him not to return to Fulton County be lifted, as the address that he booked into the jail with and the address where he would return is his home address. He has been a lifelong resident of the Atlanta area. Prior to being incarcerated, was self-employed. He operated his own cleaning services, roofing company, and a company that did various household maintenance work. He is a high school graduate, and as I stated, Your Honor, been in the Atlanta area his entire life. He does have 6 children, 3 of which live with him and who he is financially responsible for. It is important to Mr. Ashford that he gets out to be able to care for those children and get back to work. I have been in contact with the attorneys handling the cases that are pending in Fulton County, and we're hopeful that if he's able to get some type of reduction in the bond that he has in this pending case, Your Honor, and also a bond in the case that he currently has been in custody for 90 days without a bond, but that unfortunately is not on your calendar today. He won't be able to be heard on that until next week. Hopefully we'll get closer to Mr. Ashford being able to be released. We're asking that the court considers on the case before the court today and a reduction in the bond. We're asking for an aggregate bond not to exceed $30,000 on the charges, Your Honor.
Now, he's not going to live on Lawton Street, correct?
No, Your Honor, he's going to live at 199 Delo Street.
Okay.
I thought that was the one that he booked into, but no, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Has there been any victim contact, Ms. Rhodes?
No, Your Honor, a victim locate was sent for that one as well.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Malcolm.
I'm surprised to hear the statement about him being concerned about his children and wanting to get back with them when he's got 2 open cases. This one's a 3rd case, as well as 2 holds. Where was his concern about his children when he was not in jail and committing these offenses, allegedly? The state is asking that the bond amount be left the same. He was given a split bond on June 3rd, and on July 9th, his bond was lowered to $42,500 in this case, and that was only last month. So the state is requesting that the bond amount be left the same. No significant changes in his situation have been presented by the defense. Thank you.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 933 Lawton Street Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia. No further contact with Freddie Ivory or Ramon, R-A-M-O-N Hodge, H-O-D-G-E. You have a 24-hour curfew, sir. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment. That's the only way you can leave your house. Court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. So we'll do 15,000, 4,000, 4,000, 8,000, 2,000, and 4,000. 15,000, 4,000, 4,000, 8,000, 2,000, and 4,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Have a good holiday weekend, Miss Guest.
Thank you, Your Honor. You do the same.
All right. Yay, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. You have a good holiday weekend too.
That's awesome. Thank you. You too. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Great way to end this week, right, Boston?
Well, kids, it's another Manic Monday, and we're done. I'm done. But Kitchen Court Chats is just now getting started, and we're redirecting there right now as soon as I shut this off. Do want to let everybody know this next Saturday is a little bit different stream as far as time is concerned. I've moved it an hour forward to 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please come by. It is my 50th birthday this week. I'll be celebrating it a little bit. The main celebration will be after the show with my family, but come by and celebrate it with me that morning before I go off and have a fun party with the fam. So, let's all go over to Kitchen Court Chats, enjoy some more. It looks like she's got a Kirkland case that I'm betting money is probably great. So let's all go over to Kitchen Court Chats, say hello to them, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for coming out. Manic Monday is every Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us. There'll be more.